Mr. President, thank you so much for taking questions with your assembled cabinet. I wanted to clarify something that you had said on Sunday regarding the boat strikes near Venezuela. You had said that you didn't know if the second strike on that one boat had happened, but you wouldn't have wanted it. Now that your administration has acknowledged that it happened, do you support that second strike? And Mr. Secretary, I wanted to clarify something you had said in an interview back in September, I believe on Fox News. You said that you had watched that strike live on television. In real time, did you know that there were survivors after the initial strike?
Well, look, all I know is this. Every boat that you see get blown up, we save 25,000 on average lives, 25,000 lives. They've been sending enough of this horrible fentanyl and other things like cocaine and other things, but fentanyl right now is the leader of the pack, to kill our entire nation. Because a little speck on the head of a pin can kill somebody. It's very dangerous stuff. I know so many people where their sons were drug addicts. They had one little sample, and they died. They died. They couldn't believe it. As far as the attack is concerned, I still haven't gotten a lot of information because I rely on Pete. But to me, it was an attack. It wasn't one strike, two strikes, three strikes. Somebody asked me a question about the second strike. I didn't know about the second strike. I didn't know anything about people. I wasn't involved in it. I knew they took out a boat. But I would say this, they had a strike. I hear the gentleman that was in charge of that is extraordinary. He's an extraordinary person. I'll let Pete speak about him. But Pete was satisfied. Pete didn't know about second attack having to do with two people. I guess Pete would have to speak to it. I can say this. I want those boats taken out. And if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea. And there's very little coming in by sea. I think we've knocked out over 90% of it. There's very little, and I understand that. There's very little. We're saving hundreds of thousands of lives with those pinpoint attacks. It's an amazing thing when you see a boat going along, and a lot of the press would like to say they're not. You see the boat. They're not maybe drugs. You see these boats. First of all, who has 5 engines on the back of a boat going in weird directions and loaded up with lots of white containers? They're bags of things. No, they've done an amazing job. And Peter's done an amazing job. Pete, you could probably better answer the question.
No, you're spot on, sir. I think you got to start with the baseline, which Marco laid out, everybody's laid out. We've got 20 million people invading our country over 4 years. We don't know where they're coming from. That includes Tren de Aragua and cartels and violent criminals. They bring drugs, and you mentioned it, Mr. President, poisoning, an intentional poisoning of the American people, killing hundreds of thousands of Americans. So the president had the courage to designate these cartels as designated terrorist organizations. Now, a number of us here served in the military and spent 20 years fighting terrorists like Al-Qaeda and ISIS on the other side of the world. How do you treat Al-Qaeda and ISIS? Do you arrest them and treat them, pat them on the head and say, don't do that again? Or do you end the problem directly by taking a lethal, kinetic approach? And that's the way President Trump has authorized the War Department to look at these cartels. And I wish everybody could be in the room watching our professionals like Mitch Bradley, Admiral Mitch Bradley, and others at JSOC and SOCOM and other commanders. The deliberative process, the detail, the rigorous, the intel, the legal, the evidence-based way that we're able to, with sources and methods that we can't reveal here, that make sure that every one of those drug boats is tied to a designated terrorist organization. We know who's on it, what they're doing, what they're carrying. All these white bales are not Christmas gifts from Santa. This is drugs running on 4-motor fast boats or submarines that we've also struck. No one's fishing on a submarine. And I have empowered them to make that call. Now, the first couple of strikes, as you would, as any leader would want, you want to own that responsibility. So I said, I'm going to be the one to make the call after getting all the information and make sure it's the right strike. That was September 2nd. There's a lot of intelligence that goes into that, building that case and understanding that. A lot of people providing information. I watched that first strike live. As you can imagine, at the Department of War, we got a lot of things to do. So I didn't stick around for the hour and 2 hours, whatever, where all the sensitive site exploitation digitally occurs. So I moved on to my next meeting. A couple of hours later, I learned that that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat. He sunk the boat, and eliminated the threat. And it was the right call. We have his back. And the American people are safer because narco-terrorists know you can't bring drugs through the water and eventually on land if necessary to the American people. We will eliminate that threat, and we're proud to do it.
So you didn't see any survivors, to be clear, after that first strike? You personally?
I did not personally see survivors, but I stand, because the thing was on fire. It was exploded and fire, smoke, you can't see anything, you got digital. This is called the fog of war. This is what you in the press don't understand. You sit in your air-conditioned offices or up on Capitol Hill and you nitpick and you plant fake stories in the Washington Post about kill everybody, phrases on anonymous sources not based in anything, not based in any truth at all. And then you want to throw out really irresponsible terms about American heroes, about the judgment that they made. I wrote a whole book on this topic because of what politicians and the press does to warfighters. President Trump has empowered commanders to do what is necessary, which is dark and difficult things in the dead of night on behalf of the American people. We support them, and we will stop the poisoning of the American people.
And Mr. Secretary, on the second strike, you said it happened more than an hour after the first. Did I hear it
I couldn't tell you
correctly?
the exact amount of time.
Minutes, or you went off the room, is what you're saying.
I already stated my answer quite clearly.
So remember this, we lost last year, I think it was more than that, but people don't like saying it because they always said 100,000, 115,000, numbers we've been hearing for years. So we lost last year more than 200,000 people, dead people, ruined families beyond the 200,000. And those 200,000, that family will never be the same. But these people have killed over 200,000 people, actually killed over 200,000 people last year. And those numbers are down. Those numbers are down. They're way down. And they're down because we're doing these strikes, and we're going to start doing those strikes on land, too. The land is much easier. It's much easier. And we know the routes they take. We know everything about them. We know where they live. We know where the bad ones live. And we're going to start that very soon, too.
Mr. President, thank you so much, Mr.
You
President.
know what? When we start that, we're going to drive those numbers down so low. And then you're going to have families be able to live without the fear of their son or daughter just having a pill to have a little fun and ending up dying within a period of 60 seconds, right? No, we're not going to let that happen. We're not going to let it continue to happen. What Biden did to this country by allowing all these people, and I call them animals in many cases, I think they're animals, to come into our country and destroy our country and let all those drugs pour in. Let people just walk across the border like it was nothing. You look at them, a lot of them, they say, oh, let's not discriminate. I'm not talking about color. I'm just talking about you look into the eyes of some of these people. We're smart. And you see a killer. Come on in. Just come on in. 11,888 murderers. Many of them committed more than one murder. He allowed them into our country, totally unvetted, totally unchecked. But he also allowed drugs to come in at record numbers. And hundreds of thousands of people a year died. And we're taking those son of a bitches out.
This is how TikTok star Marquet the Goat passed away, right after America lost one of its brightest young creators, a kid who made millions laugh every single day. But behind that smile, nobody knew he was fighting something much darker. Just one day before his death, he complained about strange headaches and dizziness, but refused to go to the hospital, telling his friends it would go away on its own. When a close friend entered his $2 million apartment, he found Marquet collapsed next to his desk, and that's where things get even stranger. Under the desk was a small metal box his family had never seen before. Inside were unlabeled pills and a handwritten note that said, "Just need to finish one more video." Doctors now believe those unknown substances may have triggered a fatal reaction, but investigators still don't know who gave them to him or why he took something he had never used before. The mystery around that box is what has the internet in complete chaos. Fans are heartbroken, unable to understand how someone so talented, so loved, could disappear this suddenly and silently. What do you think? Was this a tragic accident, or is there something deeper behind his death? Drop your thoughts in comments.
For the charges before this court, you are sentenced to 862 years in the custody of the State Department of Corrections.
800 and what? Man, you said years, right? Not dog years?
Years, human ones.
Judge, I don't even got a warranty that long. I'm 30.
On the counts before this court, you are hereby sentenced to 325 years in the custody of the Department of Corrections.
300, hold up, 325? That's like 12 lifetimes in a weekend, Your Honor. You know I'm 32, right? You expect me to do push-ups for 3 centuries? I don't even buy shoes with warranties that long. Come on.
The court, having considered the evidence and the verdict of the jury, hereby sentences you to 378 years in the custody of the Department of Corrections.
Wait, what? Sir, I'm 29. You trying to invent time travel on my behalf? You want me to do 3 lifetimes, a nap, and come back?
On count 1, armed robbery with aggravating circumstances, the court sentences you to 420 years in the custody of the Department of Corrections.
420? Like for real? Judge, I'm 36. You just gave me what, 12 lifetimes in a long weekend? You trying to make me?
For the offenses before this court, the sentence is 320 years in the custody of the Department of Corrections.
Hold up, 320? Your Honor, you giving me a whole Marvel movie marathon of time. I'm not even gonna live long enough to hit the credits. You sure about that math? Maybe you meant 32?
You know, you told me to look into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs. 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back. And we're going to, this next year, make sure that we only put people in leadership positions in this country that love this country and have its back. So thank you for letting us get up every day and have a purpose.
But the word affordability is a Democrat scam. They say it, and then they go into the next subject, and everyone thinks, oh, they had lower prices. No, they had the worst inflation in the history of our country.
Breaking now at 11 o'clock, gunfire erupting inside the Westfield Valley Fair Mall in San Jose on one of the busiest shopping days of the year. 3 people were shot in what's been a chaotic Black Friday. Shaken customers seen running from the mall while police cleared the scene. An investigation is underway right now as we are gathering new details. And
just before 6 o'clock, and with that mall packed for Black Friday, this is when this all unfolded. And you can imagine how fast panic spread. Police say this was not an active shooter, but rather an argument that escalated. Tonight, the suspect is still out there. This is the moment fear erupted inside the Macy's at Westfield Valley Fair Mall in San Jose on this Black Friday. People screaming and sprinting out of stores with bags in their hands after gunfire broke out. Law enforcement sources tell ABC News the shooter was with the group when a fight or argument broke out. Officers say he opened fire on the victims at around 5:40 tonight, then took off with several women who had strollers.
The President of the United States, who has just been impeached, he's now reacting. Jim Acosta, our chief White House correspondent, is about to tell us what he's saying.
Yeah, Wolf, I would say this is a code red at the president's rally in Michigan right now. He is reacting in real time, I suppose, as only Donald Trump can, to being impeached. I say code red because he is red in the face. When you see this video of the president speaking at this rally in Michigan, he is red in the face and going off the rails. At one point, just a few moments ago, accusing Democrats of declaring war on democracy by impeaching him, talking about House Speaker Nancy Pelosi in very personal terms, calling her crazy Nancy, talking about...
Okay, this is happening, and I mean right now. Republicans are starting to say the quiet part out loud. They're looking at Trump and they're saying things like impeachable. They're using words like crazy, and they're doing it publicly, in front of cameras, in front of everybody. This is not some fringe Democrat thing anymore. This is not some liberal fantasy. This is his own party, his own people, the Republicans he appointed, the Republicans he campaigned for. They're looking at what he's doing and they're like, yeah, this might be too far. And here's what's wild about it. There's no formal impeachment push. Nobody's drafting articles of impeachment. Nobody's calling for a vote. But the cracks are showing. And when you see cracks this big, this early, that tells you something. That tells you Trump's doing stuff that's actually crossing lines that even his own party has to acknowledge. Let me paint you the picture of what's happening right now. Trump wants to send out $2,000 tariff dividend checks to voters. Sounds nice, right? Free money. But where's it coming from? It's coming from tariffs, emergency tariffs that he's slapping on imports. And here's where it gets weird. He wants to finance it by borrowing from China. Yeah, you heard that right. Borrowing from China to pay for tariff dividend checks that he'll brag about right before the election. Senator Rand Paul, and Rand Paul is no liberal, he calls this crazy. He says it flat out. This is a crazy idea, he says. And he's like, maybe we should just have China send the checks directly. That's sarcasm. That's a Republican senator basically saying, what you're talking about is insane. And that's just the tariff thing. That's just one piece of this puzzle. Trump also wants to nuke the filibuster. He wants to blow up Senate rules so he can get his way faster, so he can pass stuff without needing Democratic votes, so he can be an absolute dictator, basically. And Republicans are publicly telling him no. They're saying, that's not happening. We're not doing that. Senate Republicans are shooting this down. They're standing up and saying, there are constitutional norms we're not going to blow up, even for you. Can you believe this? Trump's own party is standing in the way of his own power grabs. That's how you know he's going too far. But then it gets even worse. Trump gets on Truth Social, which is basically his personal rage outlet, and he calls 6 Democratic veterans sadistic.
Debbie Dingle, that's a real beauty. So
We got him. That is the message from San Jose police. Less than 72 hours after a shooting sent thousands running for their lives on Black Friday. Less than 2 hours ago, the department detailed the arrest of a 17-year-old boy who they say opened fire at the Valley Fair Mall, hitting 3 people. Police believe this was a gang-related shooting. Investigators say the teen suspect opened fire at a perceived rival in the middle of the mall. They say he hit his intended target, but then stray gunfire also hit a teenage girl and a woman. All 3 expected to survive. Police tell us they used surveillance video and license plate cameras to track the suspect and arrest him at a home in San Jose last night. The DA says this woman, seen here pushing a baby stroller, has also been arrested for helping the gunman escape.
For the people shopping and working at Valley Fair this Black Friday, this gang shooting was terrorism. For the 2 young women who were shot as they shopped, this was terrorism.
The reality we keep seeing over and over again. Young offenders with prior firearm arrests receiving little to no consequences, getting another gun, and escalating their violence. And that appears to be the case here.
I'm afraid that if we don't change the way our system holds young repeat offenders accountable, we may be providing a perverse incentive for gangs to recruit children at younger and younger ages.
Now, the police chief went on to say that the teen suspect was on probation for another gun-related charge back in February. Formal charges for both suspects are expected to be announced on Wednesday. Now, that shooting triggered panic, as you may imagine, across the entire mall. People running for their lives, seeking refuge anywhere that they could. And for a few, it was a family that lives across the street from the mall who, without hesitation, decided to open their home to those terrified shoppers. Our Damian Trujillo sat down with the Good Samaritans today in a story you'll see only on NBC Bay Area, and Damian joins us now. Damian.
The shoppers rushed out of the east side of the mall, flooding city streets. And just a few houses down, they ran into the safety of the Garcia family.
There's a shooter. Can we come in? There's a shooter inside the mall. Can we come in?
A plea for a safe place. You're looking at video showing 2 girls asking the Garcia family for refuge.
Come in my house. Come in my house.
Right after the Valley Fair Mall shooting, right behind them were many, many more shoppers fleeing for their safety. Each of them found their safety with Martin and Irene Garcia.
For a second, I thought maybe I was a prank or maybe I was being robbed because they all ran to the back of the house. And then when I looked back, there was even more people. So I realized there's something really bad going on here. I got to get them in the house.
The family shared video of the scene inside their home. Shoppers hanging out in the backyard and in every room. Many left their cars in the mall garage, which police closed off while they looked for the shooter and collected evidence. 5 long hours.
First, people were hunkering down because they didn't know what was going to come, you know.
We didn't have a lot of food in my house at the time. We had cookies and tangerines and water. We were just trying to hand out milk. And then the night went longer and we were getting hungry.
So they ordered pizza for the crowd, and that crowd included Oriana Johnson and Stephanie Tang. The friends had come from San Francisco to celebrate a little girl's birthday at the mall. Instead, they ended up literally running in terror.
It was definitely a terrifying
experience because I have my daughter there. We landed upon the street of our wonderful new friends, the Angels, the Garcia family. And that was a breathtaking moment. The love and the comfort that we felt when Mr. Garcia opened his arms like an angel. And he just came out, literally his arms, both arms out, just saying, come on in. And we just ran in.
You see the fear of these young kids and they're looking for shelter, and I would think anybody would do that. I hope somebody would do that for my kids if they were in that situation, you know, just protect them and keep them calm.
What sticks out to me is that there was every walk of life in here, right?
Okay.
Yeah, there was everybody you can imagine, young, old, so many different races that were in here, and there's so much divide in our country right now that it was beautiful to see.
On social media, someone wrote that the old saying is in fact true, that not all heroes wear capes. The Garcias giving everyone the gift of human kindness for the holidays. Damian Trujillo, NBC Bay Area News.
Our other headlines, a deadly fire at a San Francisco apartment building. It happened around 4 a.m. on Baden and Magnolia Avenues. Witnesses say firefighters pulled one person from that apartment and that person died at the scene. Nearby buildings were evacuated. No word yet on what sparked the flames. Well, the manhunt continues in Stockton after that toddler's birthday party celebration was shattered by gunfire over the weekend. Still no arrests after 4 people were killed, 3 of them kids. NBC's Jody Hernandez is in Stockton with the very latest.
It started as a Candyland-themed birthday party for a 2-year-old girl, complete with balloons, party favors, and a jump house. But the birthday girl's uncle says just as partygoers were about to cut the cake, 3 masked people walked into the Stockton banquet hall.
Just walked up and started opening fire, shooting up in the party. My mama said she just threw the cake off the table, flipped the table over, and used it as a shield.
When it was over, a 21-year-old and 3 children, ages 8, 9, and 14, lay dead. 11 others have been wounded. According to a GoFundMe, 14-year-old Amari Peterson was one of the victims, a boy who loved playing football. The GoFundMe says he was shot and killed simply being a kid at a kid's party.
Who will do that? Gangster or not? That's not gangster. You know, then come into a kid's party and shoot up a kid's party. Like, man, get the people you want. If that's the life you live in, get the people you want.
Roscoe Brown says he was getting ready to head to the party when the shooting happened. He says several of his own family members were wounded.
My niece was shot. My nephew was shot. A couple of close family members were shot.
Brown works as a case manager at the City of Stockton's Office of Violence Prevention. He says he's angry, sad, and hurt. He's also worried the violence won't end here.
I feel like it's for sure it's going to be retaliation or more bloodshed, because that's the things that's been going on around here. I can't sit up here and say it's going to stop. I don't think it's going to stop. I'm just being honest. I don't think it's going to stop.
The shooting going through inside to my house.
Brandon Hernandez lives across the street. At least 10 bullets hit his house too, penetrating the walls of his bedroom and even reaching a back window. He and his girlfriend had to run to the backyard to take cover.
We are scared. Yeah, we don't want to live here anymore.
Meanwhile, the families of those impacted are now praying for justice for the little ones and for their loved ones.
My message to them, do what's right. Just turn yourself in, because the law gonna get you or the streets gonna get you. That's just the nature of the crime, nature of the beast. Just turn yourself in.
The San Joaquin County Sheriff says he's confident they'll catch those responsible.
We will hunt down the animals that did this, and we will hold them accountable.
In Stockton, Jody Hernandez, NBC Bay Area News.
We will continue to follow this story very closely as those investigators search for the shooter or the shooters. The latest is always posted at NBCBayArea.com. You can also download our NBC Bay Area app to get breaking news alerts sent straight to your phone.
For the second time in less than a month, San Francisco's Sunset District has a new supervisor. Mayor Daniel Lurie swore in Alan Wong today on the steps of his high school alma mater alma mater, Lincoln High. Wong has experience in public office. He was an elected member of the San Francisco City College Board of Trustees and also served as a legislative aide to former Supervisor Gordon Marr. Wong fills the seat left open by ousted Supervisor Joel Engardio, then vacated when Lurie's first appointee resigned a week into the job amid accusations about her actions as a small business owner. Today, Wong immediately waded into the district's most contentious issues, including the closure of part of the Great Highway, which led to Engardio's recall.
As a new District 4 supervisor, it is my responsibility to heal a divided community. And that's why it is my commitment to always listen before I act.
Wong's first big vote will be tomorrow afternoon when the Board of Supervisors will sound off on the mayor's family zoning plan. The plan has also faced heavy opposition from Wong's constituents.
The community in Los Gatos is rallying around a popular coffee shop. This comes after a car crashed through the coffee shop's front door on Thanksgiving night. Take a look. Surveillance video shows that car plowing straight into the Los Gatos Coffee Roasting Company. This is on Main Street. The local Los Gatos newspaper set up a GoFundMe. It's already raised nearly $11,000 to help cover reconstruction costs. The money will also be used to help support employees during the shop's unexpected closure. Police say the 90-year-old driver involved will survive his injuries. Investigators add alcohol appears to have played a role in this crash.
An East Bay school district is bracing for a possible strike as soon as Wednesday. West Contra Costa school leaders are negotiating with teachers over a new contract. On Friday, a fact-finding panel recommended a 3% wage increase this year and another 3% next year. But the union wants 5%. In a message today, the district superintendent says it is struggling to meet both the union's demand for more money and a looming budget deficit that will require cuts.
Compensation increases only increase the size of the financial reductions our board must make this year. I will continue to push our team to pursue a negotiated agreement with the teachers union that provides a fair compensation increase and avoids a strike.
Now, the district says in case of a strike, school will remain open and will continue to serve student meals. It is promising to post more info on its website ahead of the threatened walkout.
This is breaking news. A very large rally just broke out in Washington, D.C. called Remove the Regime and Impeach Mr. Donald Trump. Get him out. Thousands of people are protesting right now. This is happening at the National Mall. They are demanding Mr. Donald Trump be impeached and removed from office. And a bunch of veterans yesterday who were parading around are now in this protest. This is really big news because it just happened out of nowhere. And I think in 2026, when the midterms come around, that and when all the blue wave comes into tsunami and everything else, I really do think that Mr. Donald Trump will be impeached and removed from office, especially now that all the Republicans are starting to see and come and join the Democrats, just like with this major Epstein vote and the files. All the Republicans joined except one. I think the occupants of the White House are going to get kicked out. They're done.
Atención urgente. Los tres Atlas han cambiado de posición. Repito, cada 4 horas su ubicación en el cielo varía ligeramente. Un estudio reciente confirmó este patrón periódico, pero lo extraño es que la rotación del supuesto cometa no coincide. Debería ser de unas 16 horas. Entonces, ¿qué está pasando? Algunos científicos del Instituto de Astronomía Aplicada en Rusia sugieren 2 posibilidades. O son 2 cuerpos unidos que se mueven entre sí, o estamos viendo algo que se ajusta solo, como si tuviera propulsores invisibles. Y aquí viene lo más inquietante. Cada 4 horas el objeto podría liberar energía, haciendo una pequeña corrección, como un sistema inteligente en órbita. Los investigadores Yuri Medvedev y Sergei Pavlov respaldan el informe. Si esto se confirma, podríamos estar frente al descubrimiento más desconcertante de 2025.
Breaking news. ICE raid operation at New York Home Depot. 1 worker arrested. New York. Federal immigration authorities carried out a targeted enforcement operation on Sunday, December 1st, at a Home Depot store in Queens, resulting in the arrest of 1 worker, according to employees who witnessed the incident. The action occurred around 7 a.m. inside the store's lumber section, where two U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, IC, agents in plain clothes approached an employee and asked him to step aside. Moments later, agents handcuffed the worker and escorted him out through a side exit to an unmarked vehicle. Customers described the scene as tense but controlled. "Everyone just stopped and stared. We didn't know what was happening," said one shopper who witnessed the arrest. In a brief statement, an IC spokesperson said the operation involved the apprehension of one individual with an outstanding immigration violation. The agency did not release the worker's name or immigration status.
Хочется опять заново начать. Мой мелатонин, без тебя один. Капли на груди, смятая кровать. Не могу я спать, не могу я спать. Хочется опять небу рассказать. Мой мелатонин, без тебя один. Капли на груди, смятая кровать. After sex in the morning, we're в объятиях доме.